What's up, YouTube? Back again with a update video on my fish rack. Obviously this is not my old fish rack. I actually broke that fish rack down because it was outside. I was getting a little bit too cold. I had a heater break and unfortunately some fish died, so I ended up moving my fish rack inside, I ended up breaking down that smaller fish rack and moving my fish inside and expanding my fish rack. So what you see here is 440s, a 30 gallon or a 29 gallon, and a small 10 on the very bottom. I still have the other smaller tanks outside. I just haven't gotten around to setting them up just because I got some new equipment, some new lights and whatnot. It kind of got expensive, so I don't have the budget to set up some more fish tanks. But right now I'm okay. I'm gonna plant that bottom left 40 soon, so I'll keep myself busy with some other projects and whatnot. But yeah, let's take a quick look at the fish tanks. We'll start off with the top right one. Now I had some of these plants when I had the smaller fish rack. Obviously I got some new plants also. But yeah, so in this tank we have red Iranian rainbows and Bosemani rainbows. I have an angelfish and a school of black neon tetras and a blue grommy. And I believe I have 3 or 4 bushy noses in there also. But yeah, let's take a quick pan through this tank, see what we got in here. As far as plants go, I have a jungle val in the back, all the way at the surface. We have some Liguia here. I'm not too sure what type it is exactly, but I'm not a big fan of it. It kind of grows bushy and all over the place, so I'm gonna get rid of it. To the left of that, we actually have some swords. Not too sure what type of swords these are, but I believe they're Amazon swords or some type of variation of those. I have a few crypts in here in the front. I believe this is a crypt Ildata and a crypt Parva to the left of that. Now both of these crypts are still, adjusting and melting back, so they don't look too great right now, but they'll get there. Behind that we actually have Liguia, a type of Liguia. I'm not too sure. I bought it at my auction. I actually bought one stem and I actually cut it twice, so it's actually doing pretty well. And then to the left I have a lot of Java fern. Yeah, it doesn't look like a lot, but if I pan to the left, it's actually full all the way back there, just Java fern. So Java fern Windalov, I believe I have Java fern Philippine red, the standard Java fern. But yeah, so this tank right here is super overplanted, heavily planted, and all my planted tanks have CO2 for the most part. But yeah, let's take a quick look at the fish. Yeah, so these guys are the ones I had from the last video. All these fish right here, besides the black neons. I had this angelfish also. This guy's growing really well. There's the black neons right there. So I got the black neons on sale from Petco, I believe, for $1. So I ended up picking up about 20 of them. I think I have like 18 now. A few died actually, unfortunately. But yeah, let's move down to the bottom right tank. This tank is pretty low, so I gotta get down. It's kind of hard to record. So this is my bottom right tank. Now this tank is my beta / white cloud tank, and I did get a few more white clouds. I know I had some white clouds on my old fish rack, but I actually bought some more from my local fish store in San Diego, and they were actually feeder fish. So I bought a couple dollars worth. And I actually got about like 50 of them, and which was really cool, but obviously there's not 50 in here. There's probably like 30. And I made the mistake of putting them with my rainbow fish, and my rainbow fish ate majority of them. So I took the rest out and then added them in their own little 10 gallon. Once they grew out, I added it with the rest of my white clouds. So yeah, here they are. And then so as far as tank mates go for the white clouds, it's just a beta, a Siamese algae eater. If I can find him. There he is, right there in the center. Yeah, so these fish are doing really well. Plants are pearling, so which is pretty cool. The lights have been out for a couple hours. I just turned them on, so 3 of my tanks are on high light with CO2, so and EI dosing. So my plants have been growing really well in all 3 tanks, for the most part. Let me back up just a tad bit. Get you a wide angle of this tank. So on the left side of the tank, I have Hygrophila. I have some, I believe it's Rotala, and then behind that, let's see if I could get a picture of it. Not really. Let's see, how about this side? There, that plant right there is the skinny one is Cryptospiralis. That one's really cool. On the bottom left, we have right here is Pelea on the slate. And then in the front of the tank, we have a few rocks of Java Fern, different variations of Java Fern, Thor's Hammer, Lettuce, Trident. So those are the ones I had from before. They didn't do too hot, so they're melting back, and they're still adjusting. Obviously, I do move some plants around a lot that might, harm or set them back a little. But yeah, so on this container right here, we have some Balance, I believe. And then in between the containers, I have some Anubias, Nana, Cophelia, Congensis Mini. And in the center right here, I really like this plant. This plant is Cryptolucens, and most of my crypts are kind of like off brownish red. And this crypt, for the most part, has stayed green. So this tank overall is pretty green. I need to get some plants that contrast with that, like the plant to the right of that Cryptolucens, which is, I believe, crypts brown and bronze mixed up in the same container. And those are the crypts that I had for a while, since I had that 10-gallon rack. And then behind this, or to the right of this, I have some Dwarf Sag mixed with some, obviously, Jungle Val. Jungle Val are the tall ones. It's kind of choking out my Dwarf Sag, so I might just get rid of all this whole thing and replant or buy a bunch of just Dwarf Sag, because I don't like this look. It just doesn't look right. But behind that, I have my last bunch of Wisteria, because Wisteria actually grew so fast I couldn't keep up with it. I would have to cut it every 2 weeks. So I ended up just cutting like 99.9% of it and selling at the auction for like $2. Dirt cheap, like probably 3 or 4 pounds of it. So it grows really fast under high light and high CO2. So if you want a fast growing plant, I definitely recommend Wisteria. But yeah, let's move over to the other side. Alrighty, so this is my top left tank. This tank's really overly planted too. But basically what I have in here is my rainbows, my angelfish from that 10 or the way back when. He was a little bit smaller. But then I got some Serpe Tetras on sale from that Petco sale. So as far as fish load goes, that's what I have in here, and I have a Siamese algae eater also, just because I have some Blackbeard, and they do a good job at keeping my tank pretty polished of hair algae at least. Let's take a quick look at the plants. Not too sure which one this is. I had a friend give me this at a club meeting. I believe it's some Rotala Butterfly Mini. Not too sure. It's still adjusting. It's kind of looking pretty sad right now. You can see on the bottom some plants are just pretty much dead. But yeah, in the back, I don't know what plant this is either. There's a few plants in this tank actually that I don't even know the name of, because I just saw it at the pet store. I really like the color, and I just bought it. So unfortunately, it didn't have a name tag on it. So if anyone could ID that for me, that'd be great. It's a really red plant with circular leaves, roundish coin leaves. Something's picking at it, which I don't know what, but yeah. Right here is kind of a catch-all crypt little container. Now, I don't know what type of crypt this is either. I did buy this at, I believe, Walmart. of all places, and I just plopped it in here. This one was actually one of my containers that was actually struggling, or one of my plants that was struggling to survive. And once I got pressurized CO2 and new lights, it just kind of just sprouted and thrived. Behind this, with the the plant with the piney leaves, is Pogostamen erectus. That plant I really like right now. I'm waiting till it grows and grows so I could cut it and repropagate it, because I really like the texture of the leaves, I guess. This big bush right here is actually my crypt lutea that I had in this small container, like this container right here. I had this plant in this container, and it actually it didn't grow so well. It grew actually smaller than this, and as soon as I put it in a deeper container with more substrate, it just took off. So yeah, this is my that crypt in that small container that you guys saw before. Down here I have the repens, Stargine repens, in the two small containers. This one actually carpeted pretty well. I think I need a bigger container, or I need to put these guys on bricks because they're kind of getting overshadowed by these taller plants, especially this plant right here to the left, which is this Ludwigia, which grows super fast, super duper fast. I would say faster than the wisteria. So it gets a really nice pink up top and a nice light green on the bottom. But honestly, it grows so many roots, and it kind of takes over my tank super fast, so I might get rid of it. I have a lot. It doesn't look like a lot, but this tank this 40 breeder is actually pretty deep, generally. So yeah, I need to get rid of that plant because it's taking over. I believe I got this plant from my same friend at the auction. Don't know what the name. Sorry, it's mini something. It grows moderately fast. It actually gets a pink hue. Right now, it just doesn't look too pink. It looks just green. But yeah, this is a nice plant. It grows really tall. Does well in my setup. Again, I have like highlight, high-tech setup, so generally most of the plants I have do pretty well. In the back of this, you can't even see it. Let's see if I could show you. Not too sure what this plant's name is either. Wow, I should actually learn the names before I start shooting the video. But anyways, this plant actually can grow semi out of water. And that's why you can see some of these stalks are cut, because they're actually growing outside of this tank. And I wasn't digging that because, I mean, I just didn't like it going out of the tank. So I cut it, and now I just repropagated it, and that's why they're all half cut. So yeah, so let's pan out, check this tank out one more time. Again, sorry for not knowing all the names of the plants. I should look them up next time, and I'll be able to tell you guys all the names of the plants I have, because that might help. Because if you like the plant, you might, and you asked me, I might not know. So unfortunately, I wasn't prepared. I kind of just busted out the camera and started shooting. But on the very bottom, right here, I have my tiger barb tank. Now this tank isn't planted yet, and it has 3 sponge filters in it, because I actually took out the sponge filters for my planted tanks, or 2 of my planted tanks. So those are actually running filterless, just using the plants to do all the work. But in this tank, I also obviously have tiger barbs, and then I have a couple rainbows, an angelfish, and a gourami. I'm gonna, once I get a new diffuser for my CO2 setup, I'll start planting this tank also. So that's my next project. And then the last 2 tanks, this tank on the bottom right there, is just full of anacris or lodia. I have some fry in there of some unknown species of fish I actually just picked up at a pet store, but they're really small, so I'm not going to bother even trying to look for them. But and then the last tank is to the left. Let's see if I could scoot a chair over here. Now this tank is actually my quarantine tank with some driftwood I'm soaking, and I have a lot of plecos. I know I have a snowball pleco, some bushy nose plecos, panda aquariums, some angelfish, and some rainbow fish. So this is just a quarantine tank. These fish have been here for a while, but I'm letting my friend borrow some of my medications, so I haven't had a chance to medicate them. So once they go through the medication, I'll move them to these 40s and whatnot. So yeah, these are basically all my tanks. Let's get a last wide pan so you guys can check them all out. There you go. Yeah, so sorry it took me so long to update you guys with all this this new stuff, but hopefully I could find some time and shoot some more videos so I could go a little bit more in depth with what I have on this fish rack, and show you guys how I guess set it up and whatnot. So yeah, thanks, and I'll probably see you guys next time.